Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome to the pre-alpha demo for Solasta II by Tactical Adventures, a turn-based tactical CRPG using a fairly faithful adaptation of the popular D&D 5th edition rule set. Obviously, if you've been following my channel for any significant amount of time, you know we're no stranger to Solasta here. I backed the original crowdfunder, and I want to say I did videos on pretty much all of the expansions, though we do still have to circle back and finish Palace of Ice, which is on my to-do list. Perhaps a few notches higher now that we've got a sequel in the wings. But yeah, not only am I thrilled to see that Tactical Adventures apparently did well enough with their first game to justify a sequel, but man, this is a serious glow-up as well. You know, as much as I did enjoy the first game, I mean, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have done so many videos on it. It definitely suffered from a lot of the first-time, low-budget indie jank you would expect from, you know, that sort of crowd-funded indie project. Tactical Adventures went into the first game with a lot of ambition, but a very limited amount of resources to actually realize them with. And as a result, while there was a lot of good in the game, you know, there was a lot of jank you kind of had to overlook to enjoy what you did end up getting. But man, it, you know, apparently whatever they did got them enough traction to, again, do a serious glow-up going into the sequel, because even just from this main menu, we can already see that they have significantly upped their production values. And this is just a pre-alpha, which I suppose I should also highlight. You know, as good as it looks, this is an unfinished early build. Some jank is to be expected, and there are certain major functions that are not yet implemented, such as character generation, scavenging, crafting, pushing, readying attacks, etc. But it should still give us a pretty decent vertical slice of what the developers have in mind, what we can look forward to in the sequel, albeit, hopefully, a bit more refined and complete. That's it. Let's jump on in. Kick the tires, take this thing for a spin. Solasta II. The Mysteries of Tor Wen. Which I should note is apparently a unique introductory adventure. It will not be in the actual full campaign. It is the year 1095 AC, and the Sorak threat ended long ago. 4 orphans who found refuge and friendship together were adopted, and now they share the Colwall name. That family name has brought them together for a quest on the mysterious continent of Neokos. During a series of adventures, they made their first friend, a young halfling named Ellie Sharpreef. They promised to visit her home, the village of Tor Wen. That day has now come.
Finally, this is it. Tor Wen.
Can't wait to see Ellie again.
I'm curious about the giant statue she told us about.
Gods! She wasn't lying about the mana flows everywhere.
Oh, everything is so pretty now. Though I will say, you know, there is a small part of me that does kind of miss the sort of squared off, more grid-like map layouts. Since, of course, the original ones... Oh man, look at that. The original maps were, of course, designed to fit underneath that square battle grid during combat. But, you know, no denying, this is definitely an improvement. This is much more natural and immersive. And then this, of course, is our party of pre-generated characters, as well as a rather unfortunately placed merchant caravan right behind us, blocking off the road. I never noticed that before. That's fun. But yeah, this, as aforementioned, unfortunately, character generation's not in yet. So while you will create a custom party in the actual full game, for now we're stuck with this particular merry band of miscreants apparently foster siblings, though, man, I'm going to have a hard time wrapping my head around that concept because the dungeon master in me immediately starts puzzling over the logistics of siblings, foster or otherwise, from races with such disparate lifespans. Regardless, we are currently working with Nut, our rather unfortunately named Dwarven Paladin, party tank. Nayra, our multi-classed human fighter cleric, secondary tank, who also, of course, showcases that multi-classing is now in. Duralis, the high elven sorcerer. And Daisy, stereotypical halfling rogue. Not optimally built, but, you know, sufficient for our needs. They'll certainly do what we need them to. And then, of course, all of this should look fairly familiar for anyone who's already played Solasta or Baldur's Gate 3, or just tabletop D&D 5e. Oh, yes, and then because this is an introductory adventure, they've got all these tutorial pop-ups, but we are by and large going to ignore those. Since, again, you should be fairly familiar with these concepts if you've ever played Dungeons & Dragons or any of the various adaptations thereof. We will just focus on the actual adventuring. Because goodness knows there's plenty of that to be had. Hold on a sec, just reacquainting myself with the camera controls real quick. There we go. Alright, so what have we got going on here?
What happened here?
I hope that's not Ellie's home. Otherwise, we're sleeping in a tent.
Acid. Looks like the work of a black dragon.
I mean, that would be pretty problematic, considering that the first game revealed dragons were the secret rulers of the world, both past and present. Though then again, the opening text crawl did state that quite some time has passed since the first game, so mayhaps things have changed.
This place is magnificent.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. It's definitely got a charm to it. Looking for business. Find a commer's outpost. I suppose we could do that. Though, as aforementioned, I don't believe their actual mechanical function has been implemented. For those who played the first game, the Combers are essentially this game's equivalent to the Scavengers Guild, a largely utility-based faction which descends upon dungeons or other locations you've otherwise cleared out, and salvages or recovers all of the items you may have missed or left behind. You can then meet them back in towns like this one, where they will either liquidate the items for you, or you can purchase select items back if there's things you really want to keep, albeit at the cost of a modest convenience fee.
What's the starting bid for this unique sand lion fang? Oh, do I hear 10 gold? 9? No? Come on, everyone! Gotta make a living.
Oh, where's Jabori? He said he'd bring me some shells and pearls today.
Jabori.
Everything all right?
Well, no. I've heard no news from a friend who's supposed to be delivering me some goods. Plus, no one's buying anything from me. Not even you. Or are you?
You're right. We're not buying.
Don't listen to our brother. He doesn't decide for all of us.
Ugh.
She said as we left without buying anything. You have met Kelma, a member of the Combers. As a shopkeeper, she is under a lot of pressure as business is not good right now. Could it have something to do with the local troubles? Perhaps. Also, man, local merchants really do seem to have a hard time figuring out where to park their wagons. Though methinks These might be very deliberately placed to block us off from Mayor Badnot over there. Love the name, by the way. Very subtle. We'll have to keep an eye out for Constable Goodyees. They sound a mite bit more trustworthy. And then there's Ellie right over yonder. Okay. That gives us a good place to start. Let's hit up this building here. And then we'll work our way over to Ellie.
Hello, adventurers. Welcome to my humble shop.
Why, thank you, Mr. Fairson. A humble shop indeed. Many an ingredient that we cannot currently use. Though, we do have 100 gold, so I will take those 2 potions of healing. Always good to have some backups. And then we had a container just over here. Yes, there it is. Rations, I'll take those. Plus other assorted detritus.
Good thing none of us are afraid of heights.
Someone's pointing fingers. How rude.
How rude. Oh, yes, and then, again, speaking of ingredients, that's an ingredient harvesting node there, marked on our map with those leaf icons. Ingredients are, of course, used to craft various consumables and occasionally even magic items, but that's all beyond the scope of the current demo, so we're not going to worry about them. Though it does go against my loot hoarder instincts. They currently serve no purpose and would really just weigh us down. Ellie? What you doing? Just hanging out on some precariously floating rocks, I see.
Oh, Jabori, where are you? You should be here by now. Hope it ain't that stupid dragon again.
Hey, Ellie. Are you okay?
Oh, bless my furry feet. Fancy
Sorry, what
seeing
now?
you here. Welcome to Tor Wen. What's the problem? You look worried. You know you can tell us anything. I've got a bad feeling. Something's gone terribly wrong and I'm not allowed to do anything. Mayor Badnotch restricted everybody's movements. I feel like a naughty child who's been grounded.
They did what?
I know. It's embarrassing. I'm not allowed to leave the village, except to go fishing. The mayor says it's not safe. Always overreacting.
What was that you were saying about dragons?
Oh, there's a big old dragon comes down this way every year to nest. Mostly leaves us alone if we leave it be, but it takes half our pearl harvest for the trouble. Reckon it likes the fish and crabs down in these parts too. It's been acting fierce peculiar of late. Don't know why.
That sounds really dangerous.
It is. We're used to it, but still, it could wipe us all out if it wanted to.
I mean, yeah, that does sound like it would be a matter of some concern considering the rickety nature of this place, but then again, I suppose people can accustom themselves to some pretty weird stuff. Case in point, taking the floating rocks for granite. Quite the bolder move. Really takes stones.
Who's this Jabori you're so worried about?
Oh, he's an old sickless. Lives down bottom of the cliffs in a little house. Likes to pretend he's younger than his years. Doesn't fool me. Must be well over 300 years old. He comes by every day to sell fish, pearls, and seashells. Or just to say hi. But I haven't heard from him for too long. Something's wrong.
Have you checked his house?
Wish I could, but it's not that easy right now.
We saw some ruined houses on our way up here. What happened?
Oh, that. We've been getting lots of earth tremors and had a visit from the dragon.
So the dragon attacked the village. Sounds like things are much worse than you said.
And what do you think is causing the tremors? We think it might be the dragon, digging around in the cliffs beneath Tor Wen. There's been a lot of shakes and plenty of strange noises too. Things really aren't good. I wish I could have given you a better welcome to my home.
We could check on Jabori for you. Try to find out what's going on with this dragon, too.
Oh, that'd be great. I would have gone myself, but, well, you know. Oh, I guess I should mention, we've got a bunch of kobolds nesting nearby too. They worship the dragon, but so far, they've never come close to the village. Considering everything else, well, best keep an eye out for the nasty little critters. They can bite.
Good to know. Thanks for the warning.
Anything else we should know about Tor Wen?
Well, don't you fall down the cliffs. Before you go,
Thanks.
you can meet the mayor if you like. Actually, it'd be nice if she knew that I invited you. I mean, especially if you can help us.
Sure. Well, we'll see you later, Ellie. Stay safe.
Oh boy, lots of journal updates there. But yeah, obviously there are still some issues with, like, clipping and such. But you can really tell they stepped up their game with the body language, the voice acting, even just, like, the fabric, physics. Obviously still a work in progress. This is, again, just the pre-alpha, so I'm assuming they'll refine it further moving forward. But man, it's just such a drastic improvement over what we got in the first game. It really does help with the whole cinematic aspect that they were trying to go for. And I really admire the devs for sticking to it, you know, despite the shortcomings and often negative feedback from their early experiments. You know, a big part of the intent behind Solasta was to allow the players to still have a cinematic, immersive narrative experience while still using otherwise custom characters. You'll obviously get a stronger narrative when you have a game using nothing but lovingly handcrafted NPCs. Baldur's Gate 3, for example. But Solasta hits a nice middle ground between being able to create your own characters while still feeling like they are, in fact, living, breathing parts of the world around them. Cadastre map dating back before the crevices, and so showing the full fort structure, only partially still standing today. Neat. Just vendor trash in the current demo, I think, but, ooh, what's this? That didn't show up on our map. Rations, nice, I'll take those. And a Brooch of the Fleet. Plus 1d4 to initiative. A small magical item belonging to Kyre Swifthands. Don't know who that is, but I will be happy to help myself. That'll help get our primary tank into battle ever so slightly faster. Yeah, best on nut, I think. And yeah, this definitely did not show up on our map.
This fort looks very Manicalan.
That would mean it's thousands of years old.
There's no doubt. The style here is typical of the second expansion.
Show off.
Fun little bit of bonus world building. With an XP chaser to boot, certainly can't complain. It also highlights one of the key aspects of the setting. As aforementioned, Solasta takes place in a world where an arcane apocalypse occurred, at this point, I think, millennia ago. The ancient Manicalan Empire once ruled the entire world, forcibly uniting all the races under the tender mercies of the Elven Magistrate, who themselves, in the original game, were ultimately revealed to actually be ancient dragons. whom had taken the form of elves to essentially
Almost
take
there.
advantage of elven hubris and enact an actual factual lizard men secretly rule the world conspiracy. Man, look at that. That is gorgeous. Though, of course, given the state of things now, it's fairly obvious things did not work out in their favor long term. Hence the ruins that so many of the survivors now have built their new lives literally on top of. Without delving too deeply into the gritty details, the short of it was that ultimately the Manicalan Empire's undoing was an interdimensional invasion staged by the Sorax, briefly mentioned in the opening text crawl. Ironically, perhaps, another race of shape-shifting lizard men who use their inherent magic powers to infiltrate and secretly take over various cultures in trying to fend them off and close the portal between worlds. The magisters of the ancient Manicalan Empire inadvertently tore the veil asunder, essentially annihilating the heart of their empire and leaving the world in its current catastrophic but very colorful state, which itself is, of course, a fantastic backdrop for all manner of unusual adventures, especially, as we see here, with the survivors of that catastrophe, even thousands of years later, just kind of taking all this magic weirdness for granted, just building right on top of their ancient ruins, despite the inherent dangers thereof. Again, I guess people can just really get used to pretty much anything.
I know kids who do that faster.
Anyway, that's your very, very brief primer on the setting. Let's get back to adventuring.
Are you sure you know where you're going?
Nope.
Hush you. I've got at least a vague idea of where I'm going. I believe Ellie suggested we chat up the mayor, so let's work our way around to her.
Whoa. Reminder to self. Never climb on these shonky structures again.
You'll get the hang of it.
Very funny.
And back we go. And it should be... yeah, just a straight shot right up this road here. Round the bend, and that should take us right to the mayor.
This footbridge is very handy.
Shut up.
Wow! Hold on to something! This can't be natural.
Yeah, that's probably not great. Argad Republic Chronicles, document explaining the past of the Republic and how they built on top of the ruins of Manicalan buildings. Both informative, but also, oh yes, I was saying, I don't think I finished my thought earlier on that map we found, but I suspect that while these items are currently basically just vendor trash, it is possible in the final release they'll either be actual readable lore objects, or, as per the original game, reputation items. Though I notice we don't currently have a reputation log. But back in the original game, there were multiple various academic or trade factions, the antiquarians, the scavengers, etc., whom you could curry favor with in various ways, including by finding items of interest and turning them over to their representatives.
No, you move your caravan.
But I was here first.
My shop is right here. Your goods are going to the other side of the village.
I can't get my cart over the bridges. This is as close as I can get.
Well, I'm not moving my caravan.
Well, then neither am I.
Ah, mutually assured destruction. Always a sensible approach.
Well met, strangers. I am Mayor Rosie Badnot. What brings you to Tor Wen?
We are the Colwolls.
We're friends of Ellie Sharproof.
Is that so? So you're just coming for tea?
It seems the town has a couple of problems.
Nothing we can't deal with on our own.
Mind if we look around?
Just don't go trying to kill the dragon. Not that you'd have a chance.
Thanks for the advice, Mayor.
It's your honour, but as you're foreigners, I'll forgive your lack of manners.
You spoke to Mayor Rosie Badnot. She seemed a little unfriendly and dubious about any benefit your presence will bring to her town. Well, if she's already expecting the worst, then we shouldn't disappoint.
Sure. Explore my house. I will check on my belongings later. No offence.
None taken, and I appreciate the blanket permission. Otherwise, I might not be doing this. I mean, more honestly, given that this is a standalone adventure, I have no real fear of repercussions. Were this an actual full campaign, I might be a bit more hesitant to help myself. At least after a verbal warning like that. Again, I imagine that if the game did in fact have a reputation system implemented, this is the sort of thing that might impact it. But, you know, given the nature of the demo, we can afford to be a bit irrational. Thanks for your hospitality, Mayor. Bye. All right, what are you bozos up to?
I need more time to unload. That's all.
More time? I need my stuff unloaded too, mind you.
What's going on here?
Who's asking?
People who are thinking about burning down your damn caravans.
Did he pay you to say that?
I can speak for myself. Move!
You have no rights. Unbelievable.
Okay, well, you know, I mean, I know I just said we shouldn't worry too much about consequences, but it does feel like it might be a bit drastic to immediately leap to threatening people's life and limb. Perhaps a lighter touch is in order?
We've come from the mayor's house. Even she complained about you.
I think she mentioned a fine.
She did. A big one.
See? We're both gonna get fined.
All right. All right. I don't want to lose any more coin than I already have. I'll move the caravan now.
Nice. Though I will freely admit I'm not really sure what that actually accomplished. Aside, perhaps, from granting some extra XP and giving us a shortcut back to the local shops. Which we'll take. We've still got Maven Raven over here. And then our path down to shore. Right. So let's just follow the edge here. This should take us right over to Maven. Right there. That looks right.
First the dragon, then the earthquakes, and now Kaya. I've got to get down there. Make sure he's okay.
No, please don't. Think about the rest of us. If you go missing, what are we gonna do? Kaya's the most skillful person we know, isn't he? He's probably leading them out of there already. They'll be fine. But the mayor wants us to stay up here. She knows what she's doing.
Higher. That's the name of the fellow whose brooch we've poached. Which does perhaps bode poorly for our acquisition of opportunity. But we shall investigate.
Excuse us, we overheard you speak about someone named Kaya.
What?
We found this near the elevators.
You found Kaya's brooch?
Is he one of the missing fishermen?
Yes. And my best friend. He went looking for seashells with his crew. It's dangerous, but they've been doing it for years. It's all these tremors. I'm really getting worried.
We were planning on going down there anyway, so we'll check on him.
Oh, I'd be ever so grateful.
No problem.
Thank you, really. It means a lot.
You spoke with Maven, and she told you about her friend Kyre, one of the missing fisher folk. You told her that you were planning to head down to shore and would try to find them. Yeah, I suppose we can do that. Even if it does potentially cost us our ill-gotten gains. I mean, long-term in an actual campaign, I'm sure there'd be reason to build up goodwill with the locals regardless. Not to mention, of course, that just based on my experience with the original game, it will get to the point where we'll have more magic items than we really know what to do with.
No wonder the mood is so noxious around here.
What's that?
It looks like an elevator to get down to the shore.
Oh, so pretty.
I hope none of you are afraid of heights.
These statues are as tall as the cliffs.
Clearly, those who built this place really love themselves.
All right, be ready for anything. I'm not here for sightseeing.
Did you hear that? Mother is back from the dead.
Don't.
Wow, yeah. Daisy, ease up, jeez. Ultimately, in the final game, of course, not only will you be able to choose your character's race and classes and general build details, but you'll also get to set the basics for their personalities. You know, how friendly, how snarky, how prim and proper or crude and threatening they might be. Okay, we've got a couple of little offshoots here and there, but otherwise looks like a pretty straight shot right down to the beach. Oh, also, if you haven't already noticed, I suppose I should highlight that they do mark the special ascension and descension points with these sort of white scuffs. I feel like it might be a bit too subtle because it really does blend in some areas, especially with the actual rock faces. But again, you know, much like with the loss of the squared-off map designs, I suppose it's a trade-off between more natural environments and...
Whoa! Everyone look! Something massive swimming under the bridge.
Yeah, that's probably not great. Black Dragon, Errant Kobolds. Getting some real Sunless Citadel vibes here. Nice throwback reference for any 3rd edition fans out there. Yep, and that's definitely an old Manicolin official. The elven features, the vaguely Roman clothing. Pretty much guarantees we're in for some arcane shenaniganery.
Looks abandoned.
We can probably take a quick look inside.
This has clearly not been used in a while.
The kobolds Ellie mentioned, maybe?
No, look. The roof has been damaged by falling rocks. I think that's because of the earthquakes.
Interesting. Shifting some blame off of the kobolds.
Undignified, but necessary.
I failed that check my first time through. And, my party essentially all agreed that it was, in fact, the kobolds' fault. Yeah, I have played through this once before. But I've already seen a few things that have played out slightly differently than they did in my first time through. I'm curious to see what else might change. Humanoid corpse? That's probably fine. I mean, positioning implies it was killed by falling rocks, though it's fully skeletonized, which also implies it's been here for quite some time. As do the artifacts of an ancient empire. Though given the nearby box full of fishing knickknacks, I suppose it's possible it was a local who just happened to carry these around, since they are still functional. Killed by falling rocks, perhaps, and then stripped clean by local scavengers. Well, rest in peace, my nameless friend. I will put your mortal trappings to good use. +1 sword, of course, goes to Nut, slightly bolsters his offense. And the Shield of Fortitude, which is essentially just a +1 shield, goes to Nera to help bolster up that armor class. Good find. On we go. We've got this little offshoot over here. Oh, which has an unmarked vantage point. Interesting. I don't think I caught that my first time through.
Easy on your ankles.
Another reason to watch your surroundings and not rely too heavily on that map.
Look at that. Would that be Jabori's house? It's not as detailed as typical Siklas buildings, but...
We should check it out, see if we can find him. Maybe he could tell us more about the tremors.
Yeah, Siklas. I can't say I'm familiar with that term. I don't think they were in the first game, and I don't think that's D&D standard either. The implication, I think, being that they're either something completely new...
You've trained well.
Or it's a new term for an otherwise familiar concept.
My old gods!
Mind your heads! We have to find out what's causing these quakes.
Yeah, working on it. I will say, though, they really went all out on those earthquake effects. Oh, shoot, right, yeah. Okay, gotcha. And that right there is slight negative of this particular map format. You know, sometimes things will look like they're climbable or jumpable, but when you click on them, your characters will try to path the long way around, in this case, all the way up this side path here. Obviously not ideal when you're in hostile territory.
There's food for a week in one of those pincers.
There goes the free meal. Little cowards.
Aw, poor guy. That is a very dead kobold. Wizards of the Coast just made them too cute. I kind of miss the old, the old flashlight eyeballed doggos. Never really felt bad about killing them. These guys, though, whole different ballpark. Alright, so we've got Jabori's house right up here. And a bunch of loot markers all the way out here. In what appears to be the middle of the ocean. Though I guess we'll worry about that later.
Yeah. They were eating a kobold.
Don't judge before you taste.
Daisy, is there something you want to maybe share with us? Or don't, you know, that's good too. Kobold chest key. A small key that can be used to open the kobold camp chest. Explosive pearl. A consumable, throwable explosive made of a mana pearl and some crafting tricks. Neat. Though, I mean, with that price tag, I don't know if I'd ever actually use it outside of a demo. That would be something I'd probably hoard and sell, much to the frustration of my viewers. But you know what? Given that this is, in fact, a demo, let's go ahead and get this thing equipped. And let's check out Jabroni's house. Ah, also, we still have crabs lurking about. In fact, we seem to have unwittingly walked right into the middle of them. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and deal with that first. Gives us a good opportunity to take advantage of that ambush mechanic. Oh, looks like a fair few actually resisted surprise. Nice tag. Oh yeah, including the big one. So we are in fact in for an actual fight here. Which I guess is fair. Wouldn't be much fun if we just steamrolled them, I suppose. And we did get some small advantage. Yeah, that is a slight change on how things worked back in Solasta I. In the first game, you actually got off a free shot. In this game, it seems to avoid that free attack, and instead just immediately initiates combat with surprise checks for the side that was ambushed. Oh, nice. Opening up with a crit. Perhaps this will be a short fight after all. But yes, you know, on the one hand, I do miss getting that free attack and potentially immediately eliminating a threat before the fight's even started. But at the same time, I get why they did it. I feel like this is a fair compromise.
Another miss?
Oof. All right, into cover. Nut, you want to take a crack? Oh, here we go. Oh, so close. Come on. Oh, actually. I see exactly what we can do. Behold, the one and only time I will ever use an exorbitantly expensive explosive pearl.
That I like.
Man, that really was perfect. That's right, you better run. Let's refocus. I think our range attackers have this one, so we'll get Nut and Nera on the other two. Nice. Yeah, the game uses a pretty decent line of sight system too. Like not just the standard square grid map, which we can see here, but also actual path tracking for line of sight to determine whether or not you can see characters past or around obstacles.
You'll die anyway.
Though I've got to say, Daisy here is killing me with those dice rolls. That's fine. We're fine. Let's nut up. No, that won't be enough. We'll take it. Oh, interesting. Moving to flank our warriors, I see. And once again, the pendulum swings. Such is the nature of RNG. Let's wrap this up. Nice. And range support. Hey, there we go. No sneak attack, but we did get extra serration damage for some reason. I won't question that. Finish off this one.
Ha! Only the last blow matters.
All right, you know what? Methinks this calls for some auto hits. Oh, for goodness sake. All right, fine. Fine. I'll actually use my dad-blasted sorcery points. I was trying to ignore them. But you forced my hand.
Not too bad.
Yeah, it was all right. Oh, God. Well. Look, I'm an old-school dungeon master. You wacky kids in your fancy pants sorcery points still confuse and enrage me. But I'll use them if need be.
Die!
Aw, no loot? That's sad. Alright, well. Sorry you had to die, crabs, but I could not tolerate that sort of shellfish behavior. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a house to rob.
This is a peculiar house.
Not if you're a sickless, I suppose.
Oh, yes, yeah, we should short rest. Another mechanic I do often forget exists. That'll restore Neira's special actions, and we might as well top off while we're here. Though sadly this will not restore Duralis's spell slots or sorcery points. Those, I believe, require a full rest.
No one's home.
He didn't just stand up Ellie then.
I see no trace of violence yet.
Let's check for clues. Probably best not to leave this stuff behind for scavengers. Surely our sickless friend will appreciate that sort of pragmatic thinking. Sickless tablet. An engraved tablet showing undecipherable Sickless symbols.
There's something engraved on this stone tablet.
Can anyone read that?
I thought you knew everything.
Once a brat, always a brat.
Give us a break, please.
Ooh, +1 dagger. I'll take that. That actually does make me wonder, though, whether they are still going to have language proficiencies in Solasta II. That was an interesting, if infrequently used, element of Solasta I. Being able to speak non-common languages would occasionally come in handy, either granting extra information or even, in some cases, allowing you to communicate with characters whom you couldn't otherwise understand, most notably the hill giants in Lost Valley. Though I suppose there were other ways you could still establish communication, spells and magic items. They also had that other special spy code proficiency, which let you decipher otherwise encrypted documents. A lot of potential there. I don't know if it was ever really actually used all that much. Oh, nice. Spare pearl. I will happily take that. And probably actually use it. And then another little offshoot here, though it looks like it just leads to this. Which, what the heck, we'll take. There's your there's your ingredient harvesting example. Though I should note, at least back in the first game, those nodes did restock over time. They grew new ingredients for you to collect, which gave you an excuse to revisit older locations. At least if you were particularly desperate for crafting ingredients or just general vendor trash to sell. Wow, yeah, there's a whole bunch of terrain out there we can't currently access. Interesting. Might have to pop back out after the tides shift and actually give that a proper gander.
Aha! There's an opening here!
But alas, our journey takes us to deeper and darker places. Look for Jabori further away. Will do, mysterious voice in my head. Though I am curious now as to what all this is. Back in my first run, once I entered the cave, I never came back out. I dealt with the threats therein, and then sort of fell through a hole and ended up in the climax. But this time I may have to make sure I detour back outside.
We're getting closer.
Self-tutorial, you say? But why ever would we need stealth? What could possibly lay ahead? Ah, I see. Some cute and cuddly kobolds.
I think we found Jabori.
Who feels like a little chat with the critters?
Waste of time. Let's smash their skulls up.
We could tell them we're part of their dragon cult.
Even a kobold won't believe you.
We need proof.
I could sneak by and take some of those dragon scales. Make it look like we belong?
Huh. If you pull that off, your next drink is on me.
Deal.
Interesting, interesting. I'd have to go back and double check, but I do feel like they're a bit keener on trying to approach diplomatically this time. Whereas last time, because I flubbed that check back at the collapsed house, we came in here with our party more hopped up on the idea that the kobolds were behind the current chaos, and thus leaned more towards resolving the issue with violence. Though, you know, ultimately, of course, it was still our choice as to how to approach. Oh, yes, you guys. Wait, there. Yeah, you'll notice the stealth auras. The noise radius, I think they call it in this game. That large, quavering one there is our boy Nut, who's definitely going to have a hard time sneaking past most foes.
Good to go.
All right, people. Let's do this.
Corpse down in the water. We'll have to come back for that as well. All right, okay, let's go balance the scales. Hail, friends.
Hey! Who in the name of our mighty obsidian majesty are you lot? Spill the beans! Or we'll feed you to a mage.
Don't call her that. That's awkward.
We are worshippers of the Black Dragon. It granted us a gift, proof of its trust, a scale of its dark body.
They're a dragon shaman boss, and don't want to upset the big un boss. I knows what they is, Slasher. Now shut your trap, or I'll got you. Dragon shaman. I suppose so. Damn Sickless and his friends poking stony faces where they not wanted. Just working out what we do next. Tell you what, don't bother us. We don't bother you. Understood?
Oh, if only it could be that simple, my Saurian associate. But alas, I cannot leave yon stoneface to your tender mercies.
What will happen to this Sickless?
Mighty obsidian mistiness will eat him for her dinner. Probably calm her rage. At least for a day.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, you said it, Daze. See, yeah, that's gonna be a problem.
What's going on here? What's the Sickless done?
Loads of rumbles in the ground. Mighty obsidian mistiness gets all angsty. Her head got broke by one of them tremors. Strange stone faces turn up. Big fight. Doesn't take a sucker's old brain to work it out, do it?
Indeed.
Strange stone faces, you say? Strange Sickless?
Yeah, some strange-looking Sickless. Different, odd colour, not normal. Had to fight, made it clear what they want ain't here. They capture some kobolds, walked out the caves at low tide, disappeared.
I notice your dialogue there doesn't quite match up to your subtitles, but that's fine. I got the general gist of it. I should note the developers are a French studio, so this is all presumably localized.
You think your Obsidian Majesty has left, don't you? What if she doesn't come back?
Cool, she come back. She the obsidian mistiness. Bestest dragon in Neokos.
Indeed.
We need to go. We'll talk again, for sure.
Shut up! Enough with the questions.
Oh, I love these guys. Really hope I don't have to kill them this time. That was tragic. But I suppose it all depends on how well they take to our attempts to free that jabroni Jabori, who was foolish enough to let himself fall into their clutches in the first place. That's it. We are just hitting the hour mark, so this feels like a good place to call it, at least for now. I do intend to finish this up. I just need to run some errands first. Hopefully, though, this has been enough to give you a good idea of what the developers have in store. Solasta II, really a huge step up from the first game. And, I mean, as someone who already enjoyed the first game, that just makes me all the more impressed. That's it. We'll leave it off here, though we will pick up shortly, sooner rather than later, for what will no doubt be a much more action-packed latter half. And, of course, for those of you who simply can't wait, the demo is currently available on Steam. Feel free to go check it out for yourself, Solasta II by Tactical Adventures. But otherwise, I'll see you soon.